There is a new iPad drawing app in town. It is called Linea. Pretty sure I'm saying that right. The app is designed from the ground up to be used with the Apple Pencil, and it is designed to be simple, sleek, and elegant. The core idea behind its design is that a lot of drawing apps are cluttered and have a lot going on, and there's a lot to kind of sort through just to get down to the drawing experience. And they're going for less thinking, more drawing here. All the core drawing elements you would expect in any iPad drawing app are here, and the features kind of flow into its elegant design principles. The color picker is made up of swatches, and it is very simple. Each swatch along the side has lighter and darker values to go with it. When you make a new swatch, it automatically fills with the complementary values for you. The app doesn't want to overwhelm you with options and intricacies, so it provides you with 5 layers and 5 brushes. Well, 4 brushes, one's an eraser. Or as I like to call it, the oops, I messed up on his nose again tool. 2 fingers to undo is starting to pop up in more and more touch-based apps, and I love it. I've gotten so used to using 2 fingers to undo and 3 to redo that I start doing that on other drawing tablets without even thinking about it. What is wrong with this? I really hope this becomes a default drawing app gesture. There's some nice grid templates, some different sizes and storyboards and shapes that I found in handy, especially when I was working on some of my awful landscape studies. Yep, I'm still learning how to paint those, and yep, it's still kicking my butt. There are your standard export options, including a layered Photoshop export option. Mostly you use the iPad Pencil for drawing, and you can use your finger for erasing. I'm not exactly sure what styluses it works with. I couldn't find any documentation on it. Obviously, it works really well with the Apple Pencil, but you can't finger paint with it. Your finger actually works as an eraser, which kind of comes in handy since the Apple Pencil itself doesn't have an eraser on it. I think it shows that they put a lot of thought and care into this app, and it comes out in little ways. Things like the canvas snapping back to 100% if you're close enough when pinching and zooming. A lot of apps get that kind of wrong, and you're stuck at like a half a degree angle, and it drives me nuts. Or other little things like auto hiding the interface when you get too close to it with the pencil. I do have to confess that there were times where I found myself bumping into the limitations of this app a little bit. If I wanted to fill a large area with color, for example, the big marker was as large as I could go. All the brushes aren't like variable like on a slider like most apps. You can only choose from 3 sizes for each. And picking a different size seems a little clumsy compared to other apps that I've used. You have to tap on the brush, and then you have to tap on the size, and then you have to tap off of it. I understand why they were trying to get away from the slider because it adds another interface element there, but I think sometimes just the ability to adjust your own size is kind of nice. I also wish there was some kind of brush with variable pressure sensitivity. All of the pressure sensitivity used in this app varies the lightness or the darkness of the brushes or pencils that you're using. Having a variable size width type thing to one or some of the brushes would be kind of nice. And since there are only 5 or 4 tools, I wish there was a little more variation in those tools themselves. For example, I had a hard time telling what the difference was between the technical pencil and the standard pencil. They seem almost identical to me. I also wish it took advantage of the Apple Pencil and how you can use its side to kind of do that gradient texture thingy, like a thicker stroke that a lot of apps do. You know what I'm talking about, where you use the edge of the pencil and it gets thicker? Yeah, like this. I think everybody who uses this app is probably gonna find like 1 or 2 tools that would really make it handy. For me, I kind of wish there was an eyedropper tool. But since they're going with the less is more aesthetic, it's kind of a trade-off. I enjoyed the app for what it is, but the design philosophy, this idea of let's make it simpler and more streamlined, I've seen before. And since I see a lot of the iPad apps out there, I think this maybe does it better than some of the others, but I don't know if it was like a need that really needed to be filled. 2 apps popped into my mind while I was using this. One of them was Adobe Photoshop Sketch, and the other one was Paper by 53. Adobe Photoshop Sketch is very simple, very straightforward as a drawing app. It has more tools to it, but they're kind of, gimmicky tools. Whereas Paper by 53 is probably what this reminds me of most. A handful of tools, they're kind of handy. It's not necessarily meant for really accurate drawing, but it works really well. And of course, also when I'm using this, I'm constantly thinking and comparing it to PROCREATE, which has a very similar design philosophy. This idea of we'll put a lot of features in there, but we're going to pull them away from you and not necessarily show those things to you. I can see this app comparing it to Medibang or something like that out there that has just all these tools crammed into the interface, that this would be a breath of fresh air. But Procreate is actually really streamlined. And even though there are a lot of options in Procreate, I never really feel like they get in the way. So I feel like this is in some ways on the same level of design philosophy. There's just a lot less there. So Linea is just a few days old, and I wouldn't be surprised in the coming weeks and months as they update it if a lot of the things that I've suggested here wind up making their way into the app. I think it's a pretty good first start. The app goes for about $10 in the App Store. I think there is probably some folks who are going to really appreciate this. I think if you're looking for a more fully featured drawing app, there are others out there that probably fit that bill a little better. This was a quick little review. Thank you for watching to the end. There's two ways that you can support this channel. One is through Patreon. The other is for using any of the Amazon links that are down in the description. I get a little bit back. It helps me buy more things to review. As always, if you have any comments or questions, let me know down in the comment section or over on Twitter. That's all I've got. I'll probably see you guys next week.